Why, hello and welcome back to another episode of Voice of the Rings. I'm your host and guide, Zollin Ironshield, and today I want to talk about some of the things that I think the Rings of Power is getting right, because I'm a little bit more, I like to be positive on this channel, but disclaimer, I made a video to tie with this one, talking about the things that I think they're getting wrong on Rings of Power, and that are telltale warning signs. So if you want to see that video, maybe watch that after this one. I talk about things that I'm a little bit worried about with stuff, and again, I'm trying to be as fair as possible to both camps. There are really kind of two camps that are extremes that I see. A lot of people fall in the middle, like me. But here's the two extremes that I see. One is, if you don't like it, you're against Tolkien. That's one, which is a ridiculous standpoint to have. And if the other one is, I already hate it, and I haven't even seen the series yet. I already think it's going to be bad, terrible and bad. That's fine to have your view on that. I'm not saying you can't have those views. I'm just saying I don't think that's fair to other people. I think my standpoint is I'm right in the middle, and I will judge it when I watch the series. Right? And then you'll get reviews from me, what I think of the goods and the bads in the series. But today we're going to talk about the positives. What are good things that we already know about? Number one for me is the fact that I was really worried that it was going to be have a lot of inappropriateness, where people you'd have to watch it 18 plus, because even then, again, this is not a rag on Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is a good series too, and a good book, but there's a lot of inappropriateness where a young child cannot watch because it's very crude, right, with a lot of things. And they already made it very clear that an 8-year-old kid could watch this show. It'll just be violent, which is fine. Violence is fine, but there's not going to be anything that's really inappropriate, which I was like, oh, that's a huge plus for me. Okay, I was really worried about that. Next thing is huge awesome thing. We're getting music by Howard Shore. Why have they not put the music in any of the teasers or trailers with Howard Shore's music yet? And they just have some generic action music that's terrible. It blows my mind, okay? But maybe it's some legal reason. I don't know. Howard Shore is doing the score. I think right there the music is going to be fantastic, because he did such a good job with Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit by New Line Cinema and Peter Jackson, that it's going to sound like Middle Earth is my hope. And that's a big plus for me in my book. Next thing. Some of the actors seem completely out of it, that they don't really know anything about the lore. Some of them are greatly enthusiastic Lord of the Rings lore people. The person that plays Elrond loves Tolkien stuff, according to sources, right? Some that I trust. That's a very big plus for me, because he's a big, important character. So if he really knows the lore, that's awesome. The amount of money they're putting into the visuals, and not only do they have good CGI, they're doing many practical effects. This is 4, okay? 4. Many practical effects. So they're having orcs that are dressed up like the original Lord of the Rings. Instead of doing like the digital like they did in the Hobbit series, they're going to be dressed up orcs. They're doing real armor, real horse riding, right? That kind of stuff. Again, we're going to have some digital, obviously, because they're not going to be able to build giant statues the size of mountains, obviously. But as we've seen in the trailer, some of the shots have already been very fantastic in that way. So that's a huge positive in my book, a huge positive, okay? So those are a lot of big ones that make me excited about this series. Again, if you want to see my things that I'm worried about, watch the other video that'll be linked after this. So that's a big positive for me. All right, so now I'm gonna bring up an article here for you guys in a second. Let's see, what I might do is I might just bring up the article here below us. Yeah, so really excited about the music. The music you're hearing is from the Lord of the Rings Online. Great music, but this is not from the original Lord of the Rings movies or anything, but beautiful music done by Chance Thomas. Fantastic. So I'm gonna flip over here. There we go. All right, so now we're gonna talk about things. This is the same article I used in the other video, if you go and watch it. There were things that worried me. Now I'm gonna show you a couple of the videos that actually encouraged me. This is an article. I'll have the link down there in the description, of the Rings of Power Stars Explained. They explain what to expect in Lord of the Rings series. Some of the things were very worrisome, but I'm hoping it's more of their view and less of what's actually gonna be in it. Another thing is, a lot of the people, some people that I trust, when they got to go, other YouTubers that I respect a lot for the Lord of the Rings, went and saw the directors and talked to them. They had a lot more hope that they really do care about holding on to Tolkien's world. So I'm hoping that's what they're really gonna do, because what we don't want in the series is them bringing stuff in from from our real world. We want Tolkien's world. We're there to enjoy Tolkien's world, right? We're not there to have viewpoints, and then I go into detail on this with my other video, okay? We are not there to have viewpoints put onto us or things shoved in our face that we deal with all the time in real life. We go there to take a break from that and then come back and deal with those real issues in real life later, okay? So again, I'm not going to say what issues I agree and disagree on because that's not important. So we are complicated humans. We can have multiple views in our head at one time, right? Right? People forget that. We can all have multiple views in our time. It's like basically like, for example, if I did a little comparison to that, like political stuff in any country of the world, when someone says what political view they are, you usually like have a set couple views that you think they believe all those things now because of what their political stance is on one thing. That's never a good idea, you guys. People can have multiple views and cross views over party lines, and it's don't do that to people, okay? Don't lump people or lump all of their views by one thing they say. All right, so I always try to be fair in that way. But this is a good one. I really like this character and what he says about Elendil. So let's turn the music off and listen to him real quick. All right, here we go.
The exciting part for me is that there are these signposts on the way that Tolkien has written, but he hasn't actually fleshed out these characters to the extent that the other characters are in the Lord of the Rings books.
So out of all the characters that talk in these little things, he has the best things he says that like encouraged me. There are, if you read the Second Age stuff, there aren't the little tiny things. He did not flesh out everything in their lives because really he jumps to a lot of it what happens later, right? In Middle Earth, in the Second Age, into the Third Age, right? There's so much detail in those books. Tolkien has tons of detail. This is not saying Tolkien doesn't have lots of details in his books. The point is, though, in a series, when you're showing every little daily thing, what do they eat? Where do they like to sit in the afternoon? That kind of thing. Like, Tolkien says that sometimes, but he doesn't say every little thing. So what he's saying is he gets to betray Tolkien's betray him in a good way, right? In a good light, right? Am I saying that right? Not betray, portray. Excuse me, portray with a P. Hopefully he's not betraying the character because that would be bad. So portray a character in a good light is what I meant. Oh, sorry, the word. Excuse me, little word tongue tie there.
And so just being given the opportunity to begin to imagine what he might be like, personify what he might sound like, I'm just very excited as to where this character goes, because he has to get to Middle Earth at some point, perhaps, we think, and forge the last alliance of elves and men. So that journey arc is an exciting one to go on.
Very cool. I hope that really is what is going to be the main thing, and that'll be focused on a lot in the series, is him and all the stuff he has to deal with in Numenor, and then they have to get to Middle Earth, to start Gondor and Arnor from Numenor. That is really exciting to me. That's what gets me like pumped. I'm like, yes, I hope the whole series is about that and not other issues, right? Like, that's what it should be about. It's about dealing with Sauron and the corruption of Morgoth and Elendil trying to get his people to Middle Earth and have the last alliance later, right? Which would lead into the Lord of the Rings movies, is what they're probably trying to build on, right? Hence why they got the title of Lord of the Rings of Power, right? So, again, now one thing too with these characters, I don't know about the Hobbit thing. I'm really not worried about that. But what she says is just pretty generic. But I liked it. I thought it was fine.
We were filming a lot on location, so I actually thought that we were going to be working with the green screen a lot of the time, and so there's such a testament to the crew. Truly takes a village, and they kind of built the foundation literally in the groundwork for us, and so you see so much of them on screen, even though you may not physically.
Okay, so what she's saying, I'm going to translate that just a little bit because she's just having fun talking. She's saying that she thought it was going to be a lot of green screen, right? Just digital animation, and it was a lot of real props, which is very exciting for me. That's a big thumbs up for me, okay, from this video, because I'm like, that's good. I want to see a lot of real stuff. It makes it so much more immersive, and so it'll feel more like the Lord of the Rings series if things are real and not all digitally animated, because yes, our digital animation is much better than it used to be, but most of us are we can usually tell when something's digitally animated, right? It's just too perfect, or it's too, you know what I mean? It just doesn't quite look right. So what she's saying is they worked really hard, the crews, to get it right with looking real and being real set. So that's exciting.
Basically see them, and they built all of these sets for us. They made them as real as possible, and we were able
That's
to
awesome.
just go in and just react to that, really. So that was super exciting, and yeah, I mean, who knows? You might see some action sequences.
Yeah.
Without spoiling anything.
All right, so maybe they'll have a little bit more of hobbits than we necessarily want. Again, I'm not terribly against them having some hobbits, even though it might not be totally lore, but they're trying to pull in with the Lord of the Rings. They're obviously right, because everyone loves hobbits, right? It's going to be a selling point too. That's what I understand that. But one thing I did like is that I have what she said and the way she talked, she felt very genuine to me, this character. So I hope that because she feels genuine here, that she is more a genuine character in the series. It gave me a little more hope for her character, because you don't hear her talk in any of the trailers or any of the teasers, which they barely given us any information on that, which is always worrisome. But except there are some good things on those too. But that made me a little bit like, okay, well, she seems like a very genuine person, right? So I like that. I had a good feeling about that. That's, again, I could be totally wrong about the series and about her character, but that's what I got. Now, I don't like the fact, though, that her character's name is Nori. Why is it Nori? She's a hobbit. That's literally one of the dwarfs' names from the company of Thorin Oakenshield. The exact spelling. That doesn't make any sense to me. All right, anyway, siding. So, big budget. Now, this is huge. This is good to me. I know money doesn't mean everything, but having a big budget means that you can have really good sets, really good costuming, really good animators. You can pay for, super fancy composer who did all the Lord of the Rings music to do the music for your series. You know what I'm saying? Like, how much of that went to him? Who knows? I would guess like 40. No, I don't know. His music's so amazing. Probably not that much. But anyway, this is good. The series was filmed in New Zealand. Has to be. Thank goodness. So the landscape shots they get with probably helicopters, just like in Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, will look like Middle Earth still, because it's New Zealand. So that's a huge plus for me. Again, you can read this whole thing. I'll have it in the link for you down there. This is the one I talk about in the other video if you want to go see it. Oh, goodness. Woo. All right. Premiere date is September 2nd. Again, we will review it. I don't know how quickly right after the first release. Probably I'll make it a couple hours after I watch it the day of the release, and then you'll have it the next day, September 3rd, probably, for you guys to know for the future. But again, there are some positive things, you guys, that I am excited about. So I'm not totally worried about it. I'm not completely worried. There are some telltale signs. Again, this is my more positive outlook video, and as you can tell, it is a little bit shorter than the one that I was worried about. So a little bit worrisome with that. But again, you guys, I want to be positive too about things, and I want to be middle ground on it. Like I said at the beginning, again, the disclaimer one more time is that I'm not in the boat of loving it yet or hating it. I'm in the boat of I'm going to watch the series and find out what I think for myself, right? And then I'll give you guys reviews of what I like and what I dislike about it, okay? Yeah, that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe if I earned it. And please feel free to leave your comments. Please keep them civil and nice. I appreciate that. I love hearing different points of views. That's fine. I just don't like comments that are mean and uncalled for. Like anyone, remember, I'm a human being as well. And I do look at your comments and consider them, of course. Even people that I may disagree with. I still look at your comments. But I do not enjoy or think about comments that are purely for meanness. So yeah, you know what I'm saying. If you're a decent sort of hobbit, you know what I'm talking about. All right, you guys, well, you have a wonderful, wonderful day in Middle Earth. And there are some very big things that I am excited about with the series. And we will cover all this stuff. But there's also telltale warning signs. And that's why I made 2 videos in conjunction with each other. Because I want to keep them separate. But again, I'm not super negative in the other one, but I do point out all my worries and things that I think they're pulling in from the real world, and I don't want them to do that. So my hopes are that they will not pull stuff in from the world of issues we have, but only work on the issues that Tolkien presents in the actual stories of Middle Earth in the Second Age. So I do still have hope, nonetheless, because I think there's a lot of positive things too. They're going to add to it. The music, the visuals, I think those will be fantastic. It comes down to storytelling. That's the big one. That's going to be the clincher. Will the storytelling be good? Will they bring stuff in that is unnecessary to bring in, right? That's the big ones. It should be about Elrond, Elendil, which encourages me. Both their actors encourage me. Galadriel, and Isildur. Isildur's actor, I have no idea yet. We'll have to see the series. I don't know. I don't get a feeling out of that. It should really be about them mostly because they're the big figures in the Second Age, and they should be the ones we revolve around a lot. So in the series, so hopefully they do. Hopefully we get the fall of Numenor, the corruption issue, that the Isildur saves the white tree seed, they get over. They found Arnor and Gondor would be really cool. The time compression worries me. I understand they have to do that, but that worries me a little bit. But yeah. So what do you guys think? Leave your comments. Thanks for watching this whole 16-minute video. You guys have a great, wonderful day in Middle-earth, my friends. And a quick little shout out and thank you to my wonderful Patreons for your support. You guys are the best. And subscribe button's gonna be right over there. Next episode is right up there. If I earned it, of course. Don't forget to like. And my main content, Lotre Tale, is right down there. So you guys have a wonderful day in Middle-earth. And I'll see you all in the next episodes of Voice of the Rings. See ya. Baruch Kazad, Kuzad, I